Hi, I'm Karen. We're here at Montavilla Sewing Center, and today we're talking about the Janome HD-3000. In this video, I'm going to show you the accessories that come with your machine. So to start out with, we have this nice hardcover right here. It fits right over your machine like this, and then the handle comes up through this way. So you would carry your machine with this sitting on the top of your the case on top of your machine. So nice thing about having a hardcover, it's great for traveling with your machine because it helps protect it. Also, when you're not using the machine, put the cover on and that will help keep dust off your machine. Next we have the foot control. Now the foot control and the power cord are connected in a single plug that plugs in just one place on the machine. Then we have the instruction book. Now the instruction book is very helpful in learning about your machine and how to use it. We also have other videos on this machine too. So then over here we have the different accessories. Now your A foot, which all the feet are labeled, the A foot comes with your machine. It's already on your machine. This little guy here is for going over like jean seams when you have a really thick seam that you're going over and the foot wants to tip, you would push in that little knob there. So I'm going to put this back on the machine like, I gotta sit close so I can see what I'm doing. There we go. So you see that little knob, if you push that in, it keeps it from tipping. Okay. So next we have the B foot. Now the B foot is good for doing applique. Anything where it has a bit of a channel back here. Anything where you've got extra stitching that you're putting into your fabric, you want to have the B foot. Now I'm going to show you right here, B foot for doing applique is going to show you that, and you're going to use a zigzag, which is what I did here. Now I shortened the zigzag length, but when you shorten it, you're putting more stitches per inch, which puts more thread in the fabric, which is why you want to use the B foot. Okay, and over here is the overcasting foot. Now the overcasting foot is really nice for getting a nice clean zigzag on the edges of your woven fabric. This is your rolled hem foot. Now the rolled hem foot this is what you would do to make a rolled hem. It's just a straight stitch, but you would feed your fabric in there and the instruction book tells you how to do that. Isn't that a nice, beautiful hem? Then we have the E foot, which is your zipper foot. Now it could be put on either side of the foot holder. So depending on which side of the zipper you're sewing and how close to the zipper teeth you want to sew. This is the blind hem foot. Now blind hem looks like this. So I see I've stitched that and it shows you in your book how to do that, but this is the foot you use, and this is nice because you can change the width of this depending on the thickness of your fabric, how close you want to be to the edge. This is another really nice foot to do if you're doing pin tucks or if you're doing like top stitching on the edges of collars and cuffs. You can run the edge right along there and have your needle an even distance, so your stitches an even distance going all the way around that cuff or collar. This is your buttonhole foot for sewing buttonholes, and we have another video on how to do that, but it's a really nice way to sew a buttonhole in a single step. Then over here we have your cleaning brush, and also we have a video on how to clean your machine, but this is a brush to help get lint out from under your needle plate. And it does tend to build up when you sew. It's just a natural thing. So you want to clean your machine regularly. This is an auxiliary spool pin. I'm going to show you how this fits on the machine. There's this little square hole right there. Put that right there. And then we put the felt on there. The reason for that is when you have a spool and you stop sewing, sometimes that spool tends to want to continue spinning. The felt is going to act like a brake and help it to not continue spinning and end up with a pool of thread there. So that's why that little felt, that's what that's for. Okay, and then, oh yes, we have the seam ripper. Now the seam ripper is what you would use for opening buttonholes or for picking out seams. You can do that. I like it that it has these little lugs here because when you set it down, it doesn't roll away. And then also the handle gives you, or the lid gives you an extra bit to hang on to on the handle. Put that there like that. Keeps that safe. Then we have 2 screwdrivers. We have a small one and a large one. Most of the time you would be using the large one, but you do have the 2 screwdrivers depending on what you're doing. And then over here, this is a quilting bar. It's used for if you're sewing even lines of stitching. Now, up here, it talks about that right there. And you would use your quilting bar to sew these even parallel lines of stitching. So you'd sew your first line of stitching and then run this part along that first line of stitching to do your second line of stitching. I'll show you how this attaches. It goes right back here behind the presser bar on your foot holder, right like that. And you can move it wider or closer to the needle as you choose. Okay. Then you have 2 spool caps. Now this is the larger one for a larger diameter spool. I have already a spool cap on the machine. That's a smaller spool cap for your smaller diameter spool. Okay. And then in the middle here we have some needles. Now this blue needle is for fine fabrics, like fine tightly woven fabrics. That's what the blue means. But regular sewing machine needles, you want to get good quality needles. Like once you've used these up, you want to get good quality needles, and you want to change your needles fairly regularly. I'd say every 3 full bobbins worth of thread that you use up, after that, it's time to change your needle, because that needle has gone through the fabric so many times it's starting to get a little bit dull at the tip. Okay, over here we have some bobbins. Now, there's 1 bobbin that will come in your machine already, and then you get 4 more in addition to that. Now, these are the Class 15 bobbins. Class 15 is a certain height and certain diameter, and notice they're flat on top and bottom, and they're also symmetrical. They look the same on both sides. So if you have some other bobbins that are metal or shorter or rounder, don't use them in this machine. But bring them here. We might be able to do a little 2 of your bobbins for 1 of ours, a switch out like that. But get enough, the right kind of bobbins. And I mentioned about metal. You don't want to use metal bobbins even if they're the same size, because metal has its own kind of magnetic properties, and it's just not meant for this machine. So plastic Class 15 bobbins is what you want. But these should get you started. Okay, so that's the accessories that come with your Janome HD-3000. I hope you found this video to be helpful. If you have, give us a thumbs up. And if you have comments or questions, you can leave those in the area down below. We have lots of other videos on our Montavilla YouTube channel, so stay tuned. Thanks for watching today. Bye.